Hey, I thought I'd want to share with you the difficulties that I'm having with using these later model Dodge 8-lug wheels that share the same pattern as the early Chevy. Let's refer to that as 8-lug on 6.5, 6.5, or referred to in millimeters as 165.1, I believe, millimeters. Now, I thought it would be an easy swap. If I knew that it was going to be this difficult, I probably would have not chosen to use these wheels. But regardless, they're a really nice wheel. They just require, I found out, more work than I originally thought. So let's talk about that. I believe Dodge and Chevy does use an acorn style lug nut that would center the wheel also, but they center it on this center circle here on the hub of the vehicle. So that size of these vehicles, Dodge wheels and Chevy, is different, these being larger. So that was my first problem that I encountered that I was going to have to take on. So we made a special, the guy that does a lot of machine work for me, and the guy that also talks me into converting my truck into using a diesel Cummins engine, was gracious enough to help me out a lot and made me these spacers for the wheel. Now this fits onto the Chevy hub and takes up that space that's needed to use these wheels, so it fits tight to those wheels. So those they're tight enough that they will stay on the vehicle. I'll probably glue them on there too, so that if I do get a flat, some knucklehead that's changing it at a station, tire shop or whatever, doesn't lose this ring, because then my wheel is not going to be going down the road in a true pattern circle. So the next problem I had was at the back. I don't know how Dodge uses their studs that press in through the brake. It would be a rotor probably, because I think these were disc brake wheels. How they press in and the length and what they go through, because the Chevy has the 8-lug. I would think all of them have a piece that it also has to go through, which looks a lot like that piece right here. So I press out the studs because they're not long enough, and naturally I want to use these lug nuts. These are a special lug nut that fits these wheels, and I don't want to have to modify the holes for using different lug nuts. So I wanted to keep with those, and those came with the wheels, so I thought that would be a plus. Anyways, those are millimeter, and the studs were not long enough, and actually I found out there is no stud that's made that's going to be long enough to take up those wheels. Are a little thicker than a steel wheel, so I needed roughly around 1/4 of an inch more material of stud to be able to utilize this nut. Also being different, that it uses this big washer that spins and doesn't bite into the wheel. You can see that the threads are down in there, so it needed a longer stud to also accommodate that. So that really put it through a wrench into my whole thought process of what I'm going to do. So I went back to my buddy, and we all brainstormed and come up with different ideas, and he said, why don't you buy grade 8 bolts that were, let's see, these were, I'm forgetting what the size of these bolts. I believe they were 5/8. I think they were a 5/8. And he turned them down and put the threads that I needed on them, and this gave me the length that I needed for a drive-in stud that will, drive through the drum, and the actually it'll drive through this piece first, and then it'll drive through the drum, and that'll give me my right length and the amount of threads that I need for these wheels to work. So that was, I believe, a lot of work to do. I'm very grateful for that friend that I have, because I know it was a lot of work. Anyways, he did it for me, and I'm sure I'll be in debt and doing him returning the favor at some point. So regardless, I'm very happy that they're done, and he's not been out of shape. He wants the truck on the road, not as much as I do, but he wants it on the road, and wants to see it going. So that I'm very, very thankful for that. So what was next? So I was working on center caps. You could see these are the factory center caps that comes with those wheels. I got those too. Well, there was no way that I was going to put a ram anywheres on my truck. I don't want any kind of no, that's just not going to happen. So I drilled these out, painted them up nice, and granted, this was probably a couple years ago. I think I was working on this wheel project, and then I got onto another project like I do. So being, I guess, a bit of a hoarder, I have things around that I don't throw away, and I thought, well, I can use that for a center cap to cover that hole, and just trim it a little bit and just fit it right over that. Well, I did have 4 of them, and I had modified 1 or 2, but when you have so much stuff, sorry about my finger keeping in the video there. Yeah, so sometimes when you have too many projects, too much stuff, things grow legs and walk away. Your memory's not where it was, and whatever. So spent too much time looking for what the pieces of the center caps I had in mind for filling that hole, and couldn't find them. So what I did was I cut out a flat piece of steel. This is actually aluminum. A round circle. First you got to anneal it, of course, and I just took my big round plastic sludge hammer. It's got I ground a roundness to it for that specific purpose. And actually I didn't have a sandbag, so I just took it into the soft dirt and pounded a big circle in this. And then, if any of you know what a English wheel is, I kept working it until I got that. So that is going to be my center cap. Turned out really nice. Rolled it into a nice little like a bowl, and then I redrew my circle and scribed a line all the way around it, and then I ran it through my bead roller. So that turned out really slick. It's a nice little center cap that'll go right over that wheel like that, or the center of that like that, and that looks really good. That actually looks better than originally what I was doing. So I don't know if I'm a little off on that sticker. I might have to put another one on there, but yeah, there you go. So it's getting closer and closer to being done. Oh, and I'll glue them down with this stuff. If any of you ever use this stuff, this is the stuff. That's why they call it the right stuff. You glue it down with this, and you won't have to do nothing else. It ain't gonna come off of there. So some good stuff. All right, guys. I've been working on the truck a lot, and other stuff included. So I'll get an update to you. Get the truck pulled out. Look at I haven't seen it for a while being out of the garage. I've seen it frequently because I work on it, but I haven't seen it out of the garage for a while, so I have to pull it out and turn it around to do the other side of the wheels. But we'll do a short video on that. So all right, guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you later.